Hey everyone, welcome back to K-Korner, the channel where we dive into the wild world of entitled people and their unbelievable stories. Hope you enjoy it, and without further ado, let's go. I was on a recent flight from Iceland to Canada, and minutes before takeoff, literally as the hostess was doing a safety demonstration, a girl jumps out of her seat and interrupts her to tell her she forgot her purse in the airport with her passport in it, asking if she can just go and get it. She was hyperventilating. The hostess asks her to sit down and calm down, and she goes to inform the crew. Then another crew member comes over, and lo and behold, story changes into, "No, I have my passport, but I need the purse because I have medication in it." They ask her what type of medication. Maybe they have it on board with her. Then she snaps back at them, telling them it doesn't matter what medication, and that she needs her purse full stop, and she can have this conversation right now. What the F? Later, they informed her that ground crews searched the gate where the girl told them the purse would be, but they found nothing. Then it got worse when her brother jumped screaming at the crew saying he can go and look for it. We were literally in takeoff position away from the gate. The crew informed him that they can't allow him to do that. Then he charged out of his seat, demanding to speak to the pilot, saying, "I'm a pilot and I know what can be done. The audacity." 45 minds and the guy comes back, grabs his carry-ons and his sister, and left the plane after making pathetic little speech saying his sister could not have survived the flight without the medication. At this point, everyone else on the flight was like, "Just get the F out, dude. No one wants to hear that shit." Later on, the captain informed the passengers that they were kicked off the plane because the purse was found, but there was no medication in it. And then the crew had to manually confirm the belongings of everyone on the plane to make sure these two did not leave anything suspicious behind, causing everyone to freak out over a potential security threat considering the BS story the two morons told. The whole ordeal caused the flight a delay by an hour or so, but it was infuriating to see how rude they were to the lovely crew and how entitled they thought they were to everyone's time. It was a packed flight with families and kids on board. She probably just didn't want to lose her purse, knowing that if she made up a whole sob story, they would just go get her bag and hand it to her, no questions asked. Keep them off flights, please. So there I was, working at a mid-sized firm as a software developer. My team had always been pretty laid back, focusing on results rather than the exact hours we were glued to our desks. Our projects were delivered on time, our clients were happy, and our team morale was high. That is, until we got a new project manager. Let's call him Dave. Dave was fresh from a highly regimented corporate background and had ideas about proper workplace management, which basically meant micromanaging everything. He'd schedule unnecessary daily status meetings, demanded we fill out hourly work logs, and insisted that everyone strictly adhere to 9 to 5 office hours, with minimal breaks. One day, during one of his infamous efficiency crackdowns, he sent out an email with a new policy that all coding must be done strictly within office hours to ensure collaboration and supervision. This was ridiculous because creative work like coding often requires flexible hours for maximum productivity. But Dave was adamant, and he ended his email with, "If you think you can find a loophole, think again. Follow the rules, or we'll find someone who will." Challenge accepted, Dave. I decided to comply, meticulously. I coded strictly between 9, 0 a.m., and 5, 0 p.m., not a minute earlier, not a second later. If I encountered a bug or was in the middle of a complex piece of code, too bad. 5 p.m. means the end no matter what. My teammates, fed up with being treated like school children, followed my lead. The results were predictable. Projects that usually took a couple of weeks started dragging on. Tasks that we could have completed in days with a bit of overtime took much longer because we couldn't capitalize on the bursts of late afternoon productivity we were used to. Our workflow was severely disrupted, and the quality of our work started to deteriorate. Dave noticed, of course. He had to answer to upper management for the sudden drop in productivity and lack of commitment, which he knew was a result of our dissatisfaction with his new policy. When upper management called for an impromptu Zoom meeting with the entire at 4:30 p.m. to address the ongoing project delays, the entire team logged in to explain our situation. In the meeting, Dave spent half an hour shifting blame, berating individual team members. He didn't even mention the 9-5 policy that led to the whole situation. As the clock ticked towards 5:0 p.m., the tension in the virtual room was palpable, and our team hatched a plan over text. Right on cue, as the clock struck 5:00 p.m., one of the employees spoke up. In compliance with Dave's 9 to 5 rule, we must log off now. Without missing a beat, every team member clicked leave meeting, leaving stunned Dave to face the executives alone. This abrupt mass exit highlighted the impracticality of Dave's rigid policy, making it clear to the executives that change was necessary. The incident, quickly dubbed as the 5-0 Zoom exodus, led to another meeting where Dave was publicly admonished and instructed to abolish his strict rules in favor of more flexibility. And as for me and my team, we made sure to celebrate our little victory with a well-deserved happy hour. After 5 p.m., of course. For context, I'm a 25-year-old female that comes from a mixed background. My mother, 56F, is a white woman from Southern Europe. My father is from the Balkans and migrated to my country when he was younger. This is relevant, and you will understand later. I moved away from home as soon as I could when I was 18 after a not-so-good childhood, and currently live in another European country. My parents are divorced. My father is not really in the picture. I keep in touch with my mother on a daily basis and come visit her and the rest of the family once or twice a year. We never had the best relationship, but since I moved out, it improved a lot. I'd say we get along better when I'm far away from home. Anyway, back to the reason of this post. I've been seeing this guy for more than a year. He's great. We're slowly getting to know each other and see where this is going. We're not in a rush, but of course, this is a relationship, and I felt it was time to tell something more to my mother. I've always been quite open about my relationships and people I was dating. However, since getting older, I started being more private, as I don't think it would be good to mention every failed date to my mother. We come from a typical small town in Southern Europe, where people are bigots and close-minded. The news on the TV are constantly complaining about immigrants coming to our country and yada-da-da-da. The government is mostly right-wing. So, yeah, I didn't really mention much about this guy. First of all, because I'm trying to keep it private, but also because I could imagine her reaction, since she's the standard average middle-aged woman that you find on Facebook without much culture. She is ignorant, not as an insult, but as in the real sense of the word. She ignores, she doesn't inform herself, and just believes whatever the media tells her. Anyway, she suspected I was seeing someone for a while. I never really said much, but I've been giving her a few hints in the past weeks, and now that I came back to my hometown for a week, she started being very curious. The day after I arrived, we were casually talking before bed, and she just kept asking Simone, "Don't you have a pic of this guy?" "Show me." "Come on, come on." I'm your mother, so one side of me didn't want to show her. The other one was excited because at the end of the day, I'm proud of my relationship, and I was happy to tell her more. Maybe naively hoping for a good outcome. So without thinking much, I showed her one of the best pictures of him. Literally, in the millisecond, while I was showing her a picture, she said something like, "Hope it's not N-word. What? At that point, the phone was already on her face. It was done. She said it, and at the same time she saw the picture. She was speechless, and I was too. I was ashamed of her. And sad. Sad. She didn't say anything more for the following 10 minutes. She went to her room, and I went to mine. Afterwards, she just asked, "Does he even work?" And I told her, "Don't worry about it. He's better off than the both of us," just to make her shut up about that question that I found so disrespectful. This made me just so sad and disappointed. But the worst had yet to come. We didn't speak much about it at all until today. We were having a casual conversation during the afternoon when the relationship topic came out. In particular, we were talking about how your partner should improve your life and not making it worse, meaning he should make you happy, he should bring good positive vibes, get along, etc. That's what I was thinking and referring to. But she started being very materialistic. She asked me, "So in which way is he improving your life?" In a very aggressive, sassy tone, "I don't see anything changing," she said. I was mentioning that he makes me happy when the conversation degenerated. All sort of things came out of it. She started by saying, "Well, I truly hopes this will be just a friend and you will keep it like that then," she continued with, "Please take birth control precautions before you regret it. Don't come to me later saying I didn't stop you." And the cherry on top was, "I would have preferred if you told me you were a lesbian cause. At least that is cool nowadays." I was speechless, and I still am. I asked her what is it that she doesn't like and what is she basing her opinion on, since she literally knows nothing about him. She couldn't answer. She kept repeating the same things over and over, and she also said she would never want to meet him. I have to mention that the few guys she met that I was dating were of different cultures, but she never had a problem with them, I guess because the skin color was the same. And in her mind, there were probably foreigners of class A, B, C. I knew it wouldn't be easy, but I neither expected such a bad reaction. All this hurts me so much. I don't know what to do. In my mind, it neither makes sense because she married an immigrant, but it seems like she never really came to terms with it. She never really accepted it. For instance, I know nothing about my father's culture. I never learned the language or interesting facts about it because nobody ever taught me anything about it. I only learned about my mother's side culture of country I lived in. And I always felt out of place because this country is extremely racist. The fact that my father was not a good husband or father has nothing to do with where he comes from. If a person is an idiot no matter what. And I told her this when we were talking. The fact that she had a bad experience doesn't mean that I will, just because I'm seeing someone from a different culture. I also explained to her that I am myself an immigrant, since I'm living in another country. But it doesn't seem to click in her head. And when I told her, to her face, that she is indeed racist, she obviously denied it, because how can she be racist if she married an immigrant herself? So, I don't really know how to handle this. And I'm also just venting and need some support. Enjoying the stories yet? If you do, please subscribe, like, and comment. Okay, first, this didn't happen to me, but a friend of mine, so I'm writing it in the third person as I heard it. Second, I know how fake the title sounds, but she showed me security footage of the event that transpired and it was real. It actually happened. So basically, let me set the stage. I'm going to be using fake names to protect identities, of course. Person this happened to: Elizabeth, Elizabeth's mother; Christina, entitled parent, Karen; and entitled teen, Darren. This happened around 4 years ago. Basically, Christina had a computer that she let her neighbor's kid use from time to time as long as Christina was there to watch them. If she was gone, then she would tell Elizabeth, who was either 16 or 17 at the time, that they weren't allowed to use the computer. But usually if Christina wasn't home, neither was Elizabeth. Now here's a key fact. Before they go out, they would always lock their doors. But at one point, they thought they kept forgetting to lock their front door. So one day, Elizabeth was actually home alone because Christina was at work and they don't allow kids where she works, hospital. And Elizabeth was on vacation, so she didn't have any school. She hears a knock at the door and answers it. Who's there? Who's there? But Karen and her demon-spawn Darren. This is the conversation that follows. Karen, hello. Darren wants to use your computer. Elizabeth, sorry, but my mom's not home right now. Come by later and see if she's home then. I know she said we're not allowed to use the computer if she's not there, but you're here. So you can watch us. I'm sorry, but my mom said that I can't let you in. Darren, come on. Your mom doesn't have to know. Elizabeth, I'm sorry, but no means no. And I don't want to get in trouble if my mom comes home and he's still playing on it. Just come by later. Karen let out this exasperated groan and just dragged Darren away. Now you would think that's the end of it, but you saw the title. We have 3 criminal charges here. So about 10 minutes later, Elizabeth hears the door open and thinks her mom is home early or something. But when she goes downstairs to say hi, she's instead greeted with Karen going from a 1 to a 100 and pointing a gun at her. Here's what follows. Karen, you're going to let my angel play on your computer now? Elizabeth says while keeping her arms up and trying to de-escalate the situation. Calm down. Okay. Put the gun down and take your kid to the computer. They later found that the gun wasn't actually loaded and belonged to the husband, who divorced her once he found out what she did, but when someone is pointing a gun at you, I don't think you'll want to call their bluff. Elizabeth then decided to go back up to her room, but Karen grabbed her. Karen, I'm not done with you, brat. Where do you keep the duct tape? This is around the point I thought that she was making up the story, and she showed me what happened on her security camera. I would show her footage, but she wasn't comfortable with me showing footage. So Elizabeth shows Karen where the duct tape is, and Karen, I kid you not, ties Elizabeth to a chair and tapes her mouth shut. She said it had been hours before her mom showed up, and by then, they were gone. They called the police immediately, and when they confronted Karen about it, she said this, "Karen, that's my house. They're just renting it out." Yeah. She bald-faced lied to the police. All it took was showing them the security footage, and she was then charged with breaking and entering, making a terroristic threat, pointing a gun at Elizabeth, and wrongful imprisonment. I can't remember what happened to the son, but I think he was put in juvenile detention since he was 16. It honestly astonishes me how psychotic this entitled parent was, that she felt it was worth it to break and enter and wrongfully imprison a 16, 17-year-old girl just so her kid could use a freaking computer. I wish I was making this up because this is insane. I think this story fits in here. This happened very recently, and I am honestly unsure of how to handle it. I can't even believe this is an issue to begin with, so this may be a bit of a rant. So I, 28 EM, have a friend who is in her 50s. We are close friends. The kind where you don't talk often, but when you do, it's always really good. We mainly talk about our pets, and she's been there for me a lot. I value her and our friendship. I really, really do. There's only one issue. You see, one does not disagree with her. She has very strong opinions and will shove them down everyone's throat. She's notorious in all pet stores for all the wrong reasons. I am not too bothered by it. I just know when to shut my mouth and agree. Arguing is not worth it, and I find our friendship more important than being right about something. It has never been a problem. Until now. When I brought up wanting a Doberman, she was rather judgmental, saying that I am too insecure to raise a dog and that a dog wouldn't solve my mental problem. I found her assumptions hurtful and untrue, even if she probably meant well. Obviously, a dog won't make my mental illness go away, but I think taking care of a dog and having a companion has been helpful for a lot of people, especially with mental illness. It just so happens that a Doberman is exactly what I want, as they fit my lifestyle. I'm also not as spineless or insecure as she made me out to be. It's just that I don't argue with her because I know she would end our whole friendship over me not agreeing on something. I don't waste my energy on an argument that won't lead anywhere. So I just didn't mention it again, and I wasn't super upset. I just decided not to talk to her about it. A few weeks later, I sent a video of a puppy I have my eyes on. I hoped that maybe she'd be happy for me now. Somehow, I thought she would be. Instead, she sent me a voice message demanding I tell her which exact reasons I have to get a Doberman. It made me feel like I had to justify my decision to her, like I need her permission. Me having this dog won't affect her, so I find this weird and honestly kind of entitled. Also, I knew she'd just disagree with all my reasons. So I politely said that I know she doesn't think that I'm the right person for this, but that I disagree and I have done a lot of research, which I definitely have. I have considered this for literal years, although I didn't talk to her about that until I previously mentioned the dog. I just didn't see a reason to, and I still don't. Like I said, it doesn't affect her, and it's not like we talk a lot, nor do we talk about everything. I told her she has nothing to worry about and that the decision wasn't impulsive. She was immediately upset. She said I was very defensive, even though I acted calm and polite. However, I simply didn't agree, and I didn't want to justify my decision. This is probably the first time I said no to her. She started going off about how dangerous this dog is, that it's not the right breed for me, that she knows a lot more about this than me, and that I should be able to explain why I want one. Especially to her. Now, she does know a lot about animals, but judging by what she said about the breed, she doesn't know as much as she claimed. They were very outdated views, and some of the facts were just wrong. She said that I only want this dog to have as a shield, and that I'm going to end up with a weapon I can't control, etc. I said multiple times that I understand and respect her opinion, and that I was sorry for upsetting her, but that I don't agree and didn't like her initial question. According to her, I turned her into someone she's not, and I was extremely defensive. Again, I was very calm and never accusatory, while she sent me long voice messages in which she was yelling and crying. It seems everything I said just made her more angry. She ended by saying, I've insulted her and that I should know what that feels like. I said I was sorry about that and that I hope we can talk about this when we're both calm. I'm extremely confused about what I did wrong, and I am honestly kind of angry because I feel like she's simply mad at me for not agreeing with her. She knows as well as I do that I will put all of my time and energy into this dog, that I'm someone who will make well-informed decisions and won't hesitate to ask a professional dog trainer for guidance. And even if we are close, we are not so close that I need to involve her into a decision like this, but it seems she thinks I can't do this without her approval. Anyway, I haven't heard from her since, and I suspect she expects me to apologize. I'm not sure what to do, except wait until she calms down and then starts talking to me again like nothing happened. I might have to rethink this friendship. Some years ago, I dated a girl. The relationship was bad. She was very controlling and abusive. It ended up really bad and we broke up. I kept going on with my life, and after some years, I got a decent job, enough to solve all my needs, have a comfortable life, and make some savings. The thing is, a couple months after getting my job, my ex contacted me. She first asked me to talk. I believed that she may want to reconnect or something, but she showed up with a 5-year-old child, claiming he was my son and demanding child support. I didn't believe her, but the child's age matched the time since we cutted contact. I got advice from a lawyer, a friend of mine, to try to solve this out of the court. I offered to take responsibility, pay all the costs, and be an active part of the kid's life, only after making a DNA test. Everyone was okay with this except for my ex. She acted offended and demanded to just give her the money she deserved. She used all the excuses she could, even contacted my family, to tell them I was trying to avoid taking responsibility for her child. When she ran out of excuses and the DNA test was finally made and surprised, I'm not the father. She was so mad with the result and cried about the money, saying it was unfair and she deserved it. But she didn't accomplish anything. Moving on to the last week, there was a little party on my parents' house. My brother, a friend, and I were talking, and my brother started to joke about the situation with my ex. My friend and I started to joke about it too. Some of our comments were a little dark and bad, but we were far away from the rest of the people. Literally, we were on the opposite side of the house, and nobody else could hear us. At least that's what we thought. We were laughing like crazies when my sister appeared very angry and pushed me against the wall. She spied us and heard our conversation, and she was really mad. She started to yell at us about how horrible people were for mocking of a poor woman. A few hours later, when the party ended, she asked me to go to the kitchen with our parents, and she started to say how awful I was for the previous situation. Apparently, my ex had been in contact with her, and she believed her version, and that was her way to have an intervention. My brother and I were like, "Are you serious?" when she started to say how I forced my ex into being a single mother and that I have the moral obligation to help her. My dad only said that we maybe were being too cruel making jokes of her, but that I wasn't responsible for that kid. My mom then surprised all of us when she said, "Even if the kid is not yours, you are making more than enough money to support that child. You should have helped her." Since then, I'd been receiving texts. My dad and my brother are on my side saying I'm not responsible for her, but my sister is telling me how horrible I am for ruining their lives. My mom only said, "It's your decision, and I respect it. I'm just very disappointed that you ended up being so selfish." I'm aware that she doesn't deserve my money, and I'm not planning to give her any, but the constant harassment of my sister trying to guilt me, it's just exhausting. Update 1. It's been a while. After my last post, I read all the comments and decided to show them to my mother. We had a talk about the situation. Again, she started on my ex's side, but after reading the post and all the comments and opinions, she realized she was wrong. I think the thing that hurted her the most was all the doubts about if she cheated on my dad and I wasn't his son, and if that was the reason if she was on her side. We had a very long conversation. She told me that she believed my ex because she was always so nice and kind with her, that she decided to don't believe me when I told her all the things she did to me during the relationship, because a good girl like her could never do something like that, so I must be lying. After that, she apologized to me. We are good now. On the other side, my sister, at first she decided that she wouldn't talk to me until I'll take responsibility, but after some days I talked with her. She is totally on her side. Even after showing her everything, she said that none of that mattered, because a woman's word go first, and that's all the proof anyone could need. Also, she said that even if you are not the biological father, you have an effective responsibility with her, so you must be man enough to take charge of them and start acting like a real man. She was a lost cause. About my ex, I did some research, and I found out that shortly after we broke, she started dating another guy, or maybe she was cheating me with him before, I'm not sure. They broke some weeks later, and she had multiple dates until she found she was pregnant. I also found that she'd been trying to find a father to her kid for the last 2 years, and I was the next on the list. But looks like she is desperate now because she was never that aggressive with any other one before. Now, the reason of this post. Some days ago, my ex and my sister came to my workplace. They made a big sign with my face that says he abandoned his child and irresponsible father and started a drama, saying all their bullcrap. Their intention was to shame me and use the social pressure to force me to take charge of them. They literally said it. To don't make the story too long, they were taken out of the place. I got problems for that scandal. Even after showing all the proofs and legal documents that showed they were lying, I was earned that this better never happen again or I'll be fired. After that, I contacted my friend, the lawyer, and we are now redacting a very long and detailed paper against them. My ex and my sister, too. They were too far, now I'm going against them with everything. Maybe that scared them enough to leave me alone. Update 2. Hi, everyone, and sorry for the lack of news. Last week's had been crazy with a lot of stuff, but I think now is a good moment to update you all. First of all, I'm not allowed to talk a lot about the lawsuit. The most I can share to you is that my ex was extremely freaked out when she knew about it. She's now begging to drop it. She offered to take back everything she said, to never bother or even contact me again. She even tried to guilt me, saying that I would be ruining her and her son's life, but honestly, I don't care. I got tired of being the good guy a long time ago. She messed with me. Now I'm fighting back. And for my sister, the lawsuit at first only made her worse. As her attempt to shame me in my job didn't work as good as she wanted, she moved it to social media, spreading her BS about me abandoning my child or not taking responsibility, and exposing my legal actions like acts of censorship and misogyny. But at the end, that will be worse for her, not only because I can dismiss her defamation easily, but also as more evidence to our favor. Anyways, this is going to be a long road and we are just beginning. Recently, we had a posada on my parents' home. Every year we use this excuse to make a big family party before Christmas. I had my doubts because I didn't want it to be near my sister, but after some relatives assured me that she wouldn't be there, I decided to go. Big mistake, she was there. Mom decided that, despite everything that happened, I was taking all this too far, so she wanted all us to meet to solve this problem as a family. I tried to get out of there the moment I realized what she intended, but some relatives tried to stop me while my mom cried that I needed to stop, that I was tearing apart the family and needed to learn to forgive and let go. I realized that despite everything, even knowing I was telling the truth, she was still on my sister's side. I got out there saying her that I'm not attending any family event again, if she is there, and to don't ever think on trying this BS again. At this point, almost all my family knows what she did. Some of them think my sister is crazy, some others think she is crazy, but I'm taking it too far. A couple days ago, Mom invited me to spend Christmas with them. I didn't want her to go after what she did, but I decided to give her a chance after she swore that wouldn't happen again. But not only she had planned to do it again, my brother warned me that this time she intended to lock me in until I forgive my sister and stop the nonsense. I called my mom and told her I knew, and that I was done with her and my sister. To don't talk to me until she realized she supported the wrong person, and to apologize. I don't need to say how many times she tried to call me the following hours, and all the drama she made when I didn't show up for Christmas, but again, I'm tired of being the good guy. So that's it for the moment. Hope all you had a nice Christmas, and I wish you for a happy and drama-free New Year. Update 3. Hi to all that is still here. It has been a while, more than a year, and I think now is a good time to give an update about everything that happened with my life during the last year. Lots of things happened, lots of things had changed. The lawsuit, to be short, I won. We didn't get into trial. All got solved in conciliation meeting. My lawyer's strategy was to add all the things we could think of, from the harassment, the defamation, to the attempts to put my job in risk, parental fraud, everything. The idea was to scare the crap out of them, and if that didn't work, there would be lots of charges against my ex and my sister. My sister kept calling it a bluff and kept posting all her BS on social media, something she regrets now, as every single word she posted against me came back to bite her butt when it was used as proof. My ex took back everything she said as for my forgiveness after seeing that she would lose a lot, so she ended up accepting to compensate the damages off court and left my sister alone in a battle she started. When my sister realized how big things really were, that she was alone now and she will lose, she freaked out, deleted every single post she did, tries to pretend she never did what she did, but at that point we had all the backups, screenshots and recordings we needed. On the last conciliation meeting, she broke down crying, begging me to forgive her and to don't make her this. But she did this to herself. She had multiple chances to stop, but she kept pushing and ended up facing the consequences of her own stupidity. She had to pay me a good amount, plus all the legal costs. My mother helped her to pay, but now she has a considerable debt as my dad demanded her to pay them back over the time. For a few months, she resented me for what I did, but we ended up talking and getting back on good terms. Our relationship is damaged but healing. She confessed to me at the beginning, felt she was fighting for a good reason, for a cause she believed, to defend a poor woman in need. She believed she was doing the right thing, so she was sure she had to win in the end. Those ideas were supported by her friends. As she said, those girls were encouraging her to fight, to face me and make me fulfill my obligations, that she was fighting in the name of other women, and those ideas kept on her mind until things got too real when she saw there was no way she would win. Then all those girls disappeared. My ex left her alone. All the ones who gave her support wished her luck and went away. So she had no other choice but to surrender. So that's how things ended with them. And for the ones who suspected, no, my sister and my ex weren't on a relationship. I don't know where is my ex, and I don't care. She paid and disappeared, and I hope to never see her again. Some people had told me I went too far with her. Even some called me a monster for ruining a single mother who already was in troubles, and some had said I'm not loyal to my family for taking this far the issue instead of solving it inside the family. At this point, I don't care anymore. 2. My mother. For the months the conciliation lasted, my mom went on my sister's side. Multiple times she tried to convince me to stop from asking me to just let it go, to trying to guilt me for everything she could think. She even threatened me to disown me, to say she would not see me as a son anymore, to separate me from the family. But at the end, she couldn't and was, and still is, resented. For all those months and after all was over, I kept asking myself why she does this, why she just kept treating me like this, putting on everyone's side except mine. So after reading multiple people saying to do this, I finally got to do. 3. The DNA test. After talking about it with my brother and dad, all agreed it was too rare. My mom acted like this, and because everything my mom said and implied, my dad had more and more doubts, to the point he was sure she did something. After some beers, a very hard talk, some tears, and the promise that no matter what the results say to me and my bro, he will always be our dad, we made the DNA test. Both of us are his sons. My dad was so relieved, but then very embarrassed for having doubts of his wife's loyalty. He felt very ashamed, so we ended up agreeing apologizing to her for what we did. As I started the talk of the DNA test, I asked to be the first on talk and apologize with her. That night, all of us gathered on my dad's house. We sat around the table and I started by recognizing all the fights and tension we had over the months and apologizing for it because, after all, she is my mother, but her behavior make us all wonder and have lots of doubts about why she was being like this. So I suggested all go make a DNA test. Right after saying that, my mom went livid, and half a second later her face went red, got up from the chair and threw at me, pulling my hair, scratching and hitting me, screaming why you did this. I hate you, you had no right. My father and my brother separate her from me. She immediately started to ask for forgiveness to my dad. My dad was surprised and furioso when he told her that I was about to apologize to her because the results said we were his sons. Her face was a mix of fear and desperation. Her reaction told us everything. I never saw my dad so angry. She confessed that long ago she had an affair for a long time, until she got pregnant with me. She never knew if she got pregnant by my dad or by her lover, as they rarely use condoms, and she multiple times let him finish inside. All these years she had doubts about who my real father was, and she pretended to take this secret to the grave. But now she exposed herself. And now it all makes sense. That was the reason she always treated me like this. That's why she always put everyone else's word before me. Dad threw her away that night. And in very little time, all the family knew about it. We warned them in case she tried to tell any lies, things that she hated because she called us saying we had no right to say anything, that she is our mother and we can't say anything against her. 4. The aftermath. So, to conclude this craziness, I won a good amount of money. My brother, still my best friend. My relationship with my sister is damaged, but healing, and she's separated from her toxic and misandric friends. My ex is gone, I hope forever this time. Dad is hurt, Mom revealed to be a cheater, but they're not divorcing. She's back at my dad's home, but he hasn't forgive her, and for what he said, he never will. But he'll want to get through a divorce or give her anything he had worked for. On his words, they're married, but they're not a couple, and she now is trying to make earn my dad's forgiveness. And of course, my mom now openly hates me, because, to her, I'm the cause of all her problem. On her words, if you had done what I said and took charge of the kid, none of this would happen. I hope you're happy now. And that's it. Sorry for the text wall. Hope you all had a good 2023 and also wish you a good 2024. I will keep working, saving, and trying to build a life away from this madness. I'll probably cut contact with my mom, but I don't care at this point anymore. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more captivating stories. Share your own experiences, opinions in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay tuned for more epic tales.